All right. So today, like I said, we're looking at execution and saying how to some of the key things that you should take note of as an entrepreneur who is out to do business. And this uh, on the subject of execution, right? As a founder, one of the critical things that you are out to do is to execute, to how do I mean? What I mean is that as a founder, your core job is getting the job done. That's making sure that things move and the organization experiences progress. Um, they always say something that execution is strategy for breakfast, right? You can be all there writing a lot of strategy. The only way that you can experience progress as an organization is by executing all those strategies. So all the strategy that you're putting together, right? You need to be able to put in place a mechanism to effectively, execute all of those strategies, right? And what are the key metrics that you need to have in mind as an executor, as somebody who is a business person, who is successfully executing your strategy? What are the key considerations you should have, the things you should pay attention to, right? That ultimately indicates that you are um, executing diligently. Now, beyond ideas, execution is key. Everybody has an idea, right? But ideas don't build businesses. What that means is that everybody can think about something and say we want to provide solar for every Nigerian house. We discover there is a power problem. The problem is obvious, but beyond the problem that you have identified, beyond the solution that you have thought about providing, you know, execution is very key, very vital, central to your business. All right. So now, as a founder, your key responsibility is to articulate the organization's strategy, right? Put it all together in a document. And then one by one, you are taking those strategies and you are executing them. We've had quite a number of things we have discussed, right? And then we have said that we want to understand the problem we're trying to solve. We're trying to see what is the solution we are providing to that problem. And then we're trying to understand what does our market looks like, right? Who are our target market, our target audience? What do they look like? What's our ideal customer profile, right? What's their pain point? And then what will I do that will make them really think I am solving their problem, and then they will gravitate to me and pay for the solution, that I'm referring to their problem. But having articulated and written all of these things and put them all together in what looks like a strategy document for your organization, you need to then begin to, decipher and, analyze who does what, right? Sometimes as a founder, you might be very great as a technical person. You might be very strategic, good at thinking, articulating the ideas and putting them all together. But you might not be very good in sales and marketing. All right. So sometimes, or many times, you may need to then either hire somebody else who is going to do the marketing side of things, or in other situations, you can get a co-founder who is good, in the other area that you are looking for. Of course, as the CEO, even if you have somebody who is handling sales and marketing, right? Or a chief is somebody else who is like a chief operating officer. Of course, as a founder, you are the chief marketing officer ultimately of your organization, and you represent the brand. You speak about the brand. You position the brand for investors, for partners, right? In the face of people who are going to be working with the brand. You are ultimately representing the organization, and then you are the face of the organization. In fact, these days, many times people buy products because of the person who is the face of the business. Imagine how much business Elon Musk was able to has been able to bring into Tesla, SpaceX, and all the businesses that he runs. Remember the time that he went into government and was directly involved with Donald Trump. All the things that Donald Trump was doing directly affected his company shares, right? At some point, the shareholders were telling him that he has to step down from the government, that he has to show a sign that is committed to their business more than he's committed to the government. And at some point, I think I would like to say that what happened between him and Trump was like a staged thing to reverse the impact of his relationship with Trump on his business, right? Because when he was with Trump, Tesla got a hit. People started, they started saying that they were not going to be buying from Tesla, right? Because of Trump's policies against some of these other nations who are customers of Tesla. So he had to, I don't know, in my gut tells me that the whole drama between him and Trump was just a way to reset the mind of everybody. To see that still, I've cut ties with Trump. I have no business with him. Guys, I'm all out. Don't associate me with Trump anymore. They did so well with breaking that tie in such a way that everybody believes that they are, no longer in good terms. And that's like a reset for his business, because he has found and seen the implication of his association with the government on his business. And so they had to find a way to force a reset so that people's perception completely changes back, to how they see him. They have always seen him in the past, right? So people have always seen him as a problem solver, as a genius of the world, and all that. So he had to default back to that initial, perception that people have. Why am I saying that? That the perception that people have about the founder goes a long way in the perception that the people have about the business, and it goes a long way in people's about the business ultimately. If as a founder you present yourself as an expert, and some of the things, conversations to talk about, some of the things that you showcase about your involvement and interaction, people can see that you are really good at what you do. Then they will trust the company that you represent, right? And that's why many, not joke with how the founder or the leaders of the organization that they are part of are perceived out there. Another story that reminds you about this is the story of Ezra Olubi of Peace. Can somebody tell me about that? And in relation to what we're talking about how it affects the business? Anybody? Can anybody release that story? Anybody? Don't tell me none of you is familiar with that.
Hello, sir. Hello, can you hear me?
Surprise.
Okay. It was in the news for allegations of sexual misconduct and potential rape and all the languages used on social media timeline. And I think the board of his organization decided that he should step down or they suspended him for a while. Thank you. Hello?
Sorry, I think Mr. Daniel is having network issue.
Internet just suddenly went off. Please, where did I go off? I
I think you were asking a question about Ezra. Then someone was
ah
responding. That's when you went off.
okay, thank you very much. So can you repeat the response?
I think let me.
Hello?
What he said was that Ezra basically was was laid off by the company, that's Paystack, because of his previous statements and the allegations against him of sexual misconduct and potential rape. And that's what the guy said, or the person said, sorry.
Okay. So why did the company have to do that? Right. That's where I'm
From my
saying.
own okay, from my own perspective, the company has had to do it because if they don't lay him off, it will tarnish the image of the company as a whole, since he's a co-founder. Like he's a main figure in the company. If his name is tarnished, the company's name is going to be attacked, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So the assumption is that if they don't deal with him, the company's the perception of people about him will rub off, on the organization, right? So that's of course another case study to help us understand, you know, that the role of the co-founder is very key, right? If a founder or a leader of an organization also goes online and starts saying, talking about things that are not true, using facts that are not verifiable, and it's obvious to people, you know, people are going to begin to wonder that I hope I can trust these people, with my, money. How am I sure that they are using the correct recipes? How am I sure that they are using the correct? You understand? So every action of the founder is very key. All right. And in setting up a team, it's important to check, what are the core uh, competencies of that you have, and then see what you do to augment the competencies that you don't have. Sometimes we need to outsource some things, right? Haven't identified the core things, core activities that you need to carry out as an organization. It's important for you to know who does what, right? What skills are missing and what can we do to, augment for the missing skills, right? You may not be an accountant, but you need to do some accounting. You may need to outsource accounting and look for an organization that can help you to do that at the start, so that you are a compliant organization also. All right. So these are very important because one of the things that you're going to be, funders and investors are going to be looking for is what does your founding team looks like? The kind of experience of the founding team, the knowledge of the founding team is very important, in the decision making, right? In decision making on whether or not to support the business. Many times it carries a very large weight, because if somebody shows proof that they have been able to do, certain kind of thing, you have probably worked in a solar business before, and then you want to start a solar company. Yeah, people might think that you might have an idea, or you have a co-founder who has worked, within the industry and knows about the industry. That's, so sometimes people do not have direct skills in a particular area or certain competencies. Would look for a co-founder who has that competency, so that they can work together with them. All right. So that's very important. Now, talking about operations, right? Because we're talking about execution. The operations is what is the engine room for execution, right? You need to be very clear. One of the things that feeds into your operation are your key activities. Remember the business model canvas. If you did your last assignment, one of the things that we had said is that you should also fill in the business model canvas afresh. You have learned so much, and what you did the first time, I'm sure, would be a bit different now with all the other training and experiences that you have had. All right. So it's very important to be able to define what are your key activities, which fits in to your key, your operational processes, right? And many times it's important. So sometimes when you are starting a business, it's important to find a way to document the core operation so that It makes it easier for it to be repeatable for other people, right? So, are you going to have a mechanism for production, a means of production? What is your sales process? What does it look like? What does your sales cycle look like? What does the process for, say, maybe you have a social media marketing business. What was your process for review of content? What does it look like? So those basic tasks that you perform within your organization, you need to define clear steps that you take. One of the things that helps for consistency is, being clear about what the processes are for your operation. It helps us be able to build sustainability into your business. Okay. Also, yeah, it's important to make sure that those processes are quite simple, not too complex. Once it's becoming complex, break it down, right? What was a single process before, break it into two, so that you are able to, more effectively deliver on those processes, right? And it's important to have a mechanism for tracking progress. One of the ways for having mechanism for tracking progress is that you need to have what you call KPIs, right? Who knows what a KPI is? What are KPIs?
Key performance indicator, if I'm correct.
So what's your understanding about it?
Hello.
Okay, it's Tosin. Yes, go ahead.
So, KPIs for me represent key performance indicators. Like I said, KPIs for me represent key performance indicators. They are like what they gave you that you must meet up with. Like they're like a standard which you were supposed to meet up with to define your work. If you are really doing very well, or you are doing average, or you are doing below expectation, like that. It's like a metric that they use to justify your work, like that.
Okay, so for your poultry business, what are some KPIs that you think?
Okay, for poultry business, it depends on which poultry that you are going to, but some of the general standard KPIs are mortality. The mortality, you have like 3 to 5%. That means 3% should be the target, whereas 5% is the threshold that you must not exist. That means that of 100 over 100, if you can sustain 3% for your production, like from the onset to the completion, especially for the broilers, like that. That is you
3% for
met the
what?
target. 3% of mortality. Say you are having 10,000, then 3% of the 10,000, that would be like 30. For your production, you must not have more than 30 mortality. Then if at worst you must have the threshold would be like 50, that's 5% of it. So that's one KPI. Another
So are you
KPI,
talking of are you talking of mortality rates? That you mustn't have
mortality rate.
more than 3 to 5% mortality rate. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, throughout the operation.
Okay. Yeah, that's
And
an important key performance. So your mortality rate is your KPI. Then you now define it. What will be our percentage, right? What will be our limit?
yeah,
What's our expectation? Success rate is about 97%, right? Mortality rate not exceeding 3%. Okay. All right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good example.
Okay. Of course, there's still several though. There is production percent for those people who are going into layers. Uh, there is a percentage that you must meet. Of course, it's not fixed. Sometimes it shoots up like there's a graph, like there's a curve for it, based on their production and age, like that. No, it's as if it goes from a bit middle, you start going up, then at a particular percentage, probably 88 or 90%, it starts plateauing. It plateaus for maybe some weeks or a month, then it goes it's not sharp, then it starts declining rapidly to some certain week, whereby probably after some production percentage at the right time, that's when they call the boss like old layers or spent layers like that. They hate to the regards of what they are producing before they sell them off. There is another one. There is the uniformity, like that means when you are raising your flock, there is the percent the standard weight they must have at like on every week basis like that, based on the grammage they are consuming and what they were supposed to interpret to the conversion. Of course, we scale them. Then there is this percentage, like once you, let me say, at 2 weeks for broilers, your bots are supposed to be having like 500 grams, 500 grams. So when you are having, maybe you still, let's say, let me put 1,000 there. 1,000, you might have to weigh maybe 20% of the population or the flock population. So you are weighing, say 100. Let me put it that way, 100. Now, if your standard is 500, you are expected to have more. Those that will be heavy set, that will exceed the target, and some that might not be up to the target. So the 500, if you're having like 480, 490, they can still you can still push them at target like that. Then if you're having like 449 and below, those are a low or light vote like that. If you're having 530, 540, 520, 510 is still target. But once you are exceeding maybe 530, 540, 550, that is heavy. And heavy does not mean you are doing right in some flow. Like if you are doing higher than the expected, you might be running on a low. For some particular bets, you are doing good. Say
All
for
right.
broiler bets, you are doing good. If you are
Yeah.
having heavy. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I think you understand what we're trying to talk about, right? Yeah. So Malushi, let's hear from you as well. Let's hear from you. Those are very good examples that you
Okay,
have
sir.
made.
Good
So what
afternoon,
you have
sir.
to do is to articulate them. Say number of mortality rates. Then you define it. What's the expectation, right? Wait at wait in 2 weeks, right? You define what's your expectation, right? So that will help you to track whether you know whether you're on track as you go along. Fantastic. Maluchi, let's hear you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, so you were basically asking about KPIs, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
We are
so
trying to
he
get
already,
examples of KPIs.
yes. He said KPI means key performance indicator. So he now, went into the direction of poetry, business, like that aspect of business. But personally, I'm a dev. I launched an app. So, I see KPIs with different parameters, right? So KPIs, key performance indicators, they are like parameters that we define to be able to measure how successful our businesses are. Yeah, so in my own business, my own KPIs are not, how many chickens I've sold or, what how many
How many
livestock,
what?
how many chickens I've sold or mortality rate
No,
of,
chicken
because I
again.
don't deal with, yes. I think he
You
was talking
sell
about
chicken.
poultry now. No. I'm
No. I'm
comparing.
talking about your business.
No. Yes,
I'm talking
I'm
about your
comparing.
business.
Yes, I'm comparing. I'm telling you that, in his own business, those are his parameters.
Ahead.
Those
So
are
I want
his
to hear about your
parameters
own
for,
now.
yes, my own parameters, my own is like the monthly active users, the number of monthly active users, and the retention
Excellent.
rates, and then new users as well.
Yeah,
The
new sign-ups.
parameter new user, yes, it shows that people are actually recommending your app to other people, or it shows how successful your marketing strategy is, right? So also what's the name, the revenue or retention rate as well. The retention rate in my business, it shows that yes, people are actually enjoying the experience on the app. So those are basically my own KPIs, the parameters that I use to measure the success of my own business. Yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I see that shows you really understand what we're talking about. Excellent. Yeah, Chine, let's hear
Okay,
you.
sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. But from my own understanding of key performance indicators, just like the previous responder said, for my business, That's actually production of natural signal from cocoa. So from the previous assignments you gave us, there was a section where we were told to include our break-even points. And for me to be able to meet up with that shows how successful my business will be. All right. So for me now, personally, one of my KPI is actually and then sales to be able to get to that break-even point that I've already set up. And secondly, for the marketing aspect of the product, um, a target for conversion of leads. Maybe I'm running ads and the rest. If the ads are not converting to potential customers or to customers, then to set maybe a target for conversion of you. So if I'm not meeting up to that target, I should be able to go back to the drawing board to know what's the cost, what are we not doing right, or something like that. So basically, that's my understanding of KPI: production targets, sales targets, then conversion, that's marketing targets too, for my business. Basically. Thank you, sir.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So you have broken that down. It's not so your KPI at the rate at with what you said, is multi-level, right? Because of course the high-level KPIs you are focusing on is what's your production rate, what's your what is your target revenue and all that for your business. How many units should you produce per cycle? What should be the defect rates, right? For your production. Those are your primary KPIs, right? But of course, because you have an organization that will have different departments, of course, you can also set key performance indicators for the different departments who will ultimately tie into your ultimate goal. While you have a sales target, the sub KPI that is important for you to achieve your sales target will then be those marketing KPIs that the marketing department was, have so that they can monitor progress and ensure success. So really, for example, that marketing KPI you have spoken about, your key KPI is the ultimate volume of sales, right? That you intend to have on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, and then of course within the sales department, you then have sub KPIs that speaks to checking the success rates of your marketing campaigns and all that. Ultimately, what we're saying is that these KPIs are simply mechanisms to track progress, mechanism to track success, mechanism to track how much we are doing. I usually would engage when I'm talking to Chidebere on that program. At some point, I was telling her conversion rate is very important. Beyond the fact that we have this number of people shortlisted, how many of them were we able to get into class? Very important, right? Because those are metrics that show real success at the end, of the day. So your eyes must always be at the end goal to say, the final outcome. What are we expecting as final outcome? And you keep working to make sure that those final outcomes are achieved. Your ultimate goal as a business is to make money, right? Ultimately, all of those your KPIs tie into how you're going to make money ultimately. And your most critical goal is your revenue targets to say how much money will we make this year? How much money will we make per quarter? How much money will we make on a monthly basis? That's what ultimately will keep the business as a going concern. Okay, now, yeah, so speaking to traction and milestones, right? Because we've talked about KPIs and the measuring, tracking progress, right? The ultimate goal of all of this is to create traction for your business, right? What are the traction signals, right? Number of users, like who said that? Malucci was saying, right? Number of users if you have. Of course, this refers also to number of customers if you're not necessarily doing Yeah, the same thing. Customers, users, they are used interchangeably, right? What else are you going to be measuring to say your business is gaining traction, making progress, revenue? Like I said, very important. It's at the center of your objective as a business. So you must track it, right? What investors want to see is how are you doing from the revenue side, right? What's your plan? How is your revenue going over a period of of time? So you must be able to somewhat articulate that and indicate what you would do at different stages to grow your revenue over a period of time. All right. Yeah. Also engagement. How are people engaging your business, right? Very important in determining the kind of traction that you will have that you will have as an organization. Partnerships, what new partnerships are you forming? Right? These are the kind of things that people want to see. So when you're talking about your business and the traction that you have made as a business, these are the kind of things you want to be talking about. We have signed up this number of people. We currently have this amount of revenue, right? Our company is ranked number one on whatever platform, right? We have signed a new partnership with this organization. That shows credibility, right? For you to have those partnerships, it shows that some people trust you. And so people are going to be able to trust you with their money as well, because somehow you've been able to get some people to also to trust you, right? And of course, as you show traction of what you have done so far, you also want to show what does your milestones look like? What are the next steps that you are looking? Say, for example, now we have 100 customers who regularly use our product, right? The next 1 year, we hope to move that to 2,000 users. And then you begin to talk about what you need to be able to achieve that. Okay? So let's take notes of that. Okay. Sorry. Sorry. Spring right. Okay, somebody's hand up. So I'm actually open to taking questions at this juncture, right? On this subjects that discussed. So do we have any questions or feedback on this? Because I'm not hearing some people's voice today. Yeah, hello, are we there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to look for somebody to call. Okay, Thompson, are you there? Hello, Thompson.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. Well done, sir.
Yes, I hope you've been following the class.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So tell me about your
Yes,
business and what traction you have currently. Are you there? Okay, I'm not sure Thompson is with us. Toluwani, I'm sure I've heard Toluwani speak. Toluwani Olushola.
Bravo, sir.
Okay, how you feel?
Fine, sir.
So tell me about your business and your current traction.
Sir?
Tell me about your business and your current traction.
Okay, sir. Actually, the business I'm into is a solar business, sir.
Okay.
So, but this one is majorly on market women. Hello, can you hear me?
What problem are you trying to solve?
Yes.
I'm writing something down now that you can tell me.
Yes. That's why I'm trying to check my. So we are focusing on sellers, fish sellers in the market. So we are trying to help to solve the problem of some fish sellers whereby they buy dozen like what they call a frozen fish in bulk, but they find it difficult for them to in terms of storage. So and by so doing, they try to like make fast sales and selling it in lesser price than they got it due to avoid losses, to avoid it into waste. And by so doing, if they didn't sell it on time, so they just have to sell the fishes in giveaway prices. So I try to solve the problem in having a solar kind of facility whereby fish sellers can be able to deposit their fishes in bulk, like in cartons. So I can have a solar cold room. So just to help majorly on the fish sellers for them to be able to deposit their inventory. So that's what I thought of, some. Hello, sir.
Did you do really those kind of services?
No, sir. Actually, I'm still I'm in my final year. So when I got the link online. So when you said we should get like a business idea, so that's what came to my mind. So and I started building on it, and through your lectures, so I've been trying to work on the way forward to it, sir.
Yeah, so you need to check the market, right?
Yes, sir.
If that problem really exists.
No, yes, it actually exists, sir. It actually exists. I've done it. Actually exists, sir.
Okay. So will this device be for the market women, or it will be they will deposit it in a particular place and then they will come and pick the inventory gradually?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, it's particularly for the market women, and also I was like, because I got to realize that especially like in various when I'm let's say goods, they usually have their bodies like board, like association kind of, where I can just if possible I can meet with their leaders and discuss the matter with them. Then through, at least if I can gain trust from their leaders, so it will be very easy for the entire market women
Be like a cooperative kind of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sounds good.
So,
Sounds good. Okay.
okay, sir.
All right. So you are still at the idea phase, right? You haven't really
Yes,
done much.
yes,
Just
sir.
the
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
okay. All right. So please make sure all those assignments that you've been given, you probably take time to do those things. Now
Yeah, I've actually done it.
all right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Let's hear from Michael.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. So,
Yes, good
what
afternoon.
we are working on maternal health, and we are working on, making healthcare like we discovered a problem that, you know, affluent women have difficulties like seeing, they have disconnected follow ups, like tracking their manual appointment tracking is often poor, and there is no centralized maternal oversight. So we established this platform, Serial Health, that provides a multilingual AI assisted triage and reminders, a maternal content library, and virtual and coordinated consultations, online. What we are trying to solve is the high rate of maternal mortality. Although, like much more specifically, we are working on disconnected follow-ups, reactive risk management that pregnant women and nursing mothers face, and appointment tracking, like when they come for their antenatals and all. So we concerning our market, we looked at like two separate markets, like people that can actually afford like quality healthcare, like underserved communities and highly served communities. When we were working with underserved communities, we noticed one thing, that these women are unable to like pay for our services, because when we calculated our entire operating costs, it was really high, except if one is establishing as an NGO. But then when we calculated all of this and we calculated the prices we wanted to give these mothers, it wasn't adding up. So we decided to focus more on like affluent women, like women that can actually afford our service.
Afford it.
Yes, and sometimes when we go for pitch competitions, they ask us that, okay, what about market women? What about this set of people? And it's quite difficult to explain that, or I won't say it's difficult to explain. It seems as if one is neglecting one part of the market, because these are the people that can actually afford it. Like we can create solutions for them, and we are making profits out of it. But when we say, these people that cannot afford it to kinikon, it creates this kind of bias, or
Yeah,
it
yeah,
makes
yeah.
it a
It
topic of
always
debate.
creates a kind of,
So we
sentiment. How
don't
you feel also goes a long way, ultimately, in
exactly.
what you are.
So
Yeah.
so
So, but what's the
we
service you
we
are providing?
okay, it's we are providing a platform that helps like hospitals, and we much more specifically private hospitals, to get maternal health content, like how to videos, like how to feed like how to breastfeed your baby. They also give a predictive maternal risk tracking. Like there are some signs and symptoms that pregnant women may, or like when they experience them, they should not like be in fear. For example, when women get pregnant at first, there are certain things that they are always in fear of. So our platform helps to like reduce the tension, fear, through information that we provide. And we also provide like consultations, like virtual consultations for these women. And we are also still trying to like include a multilingual like chatbot, but that's like another expense on its own. So whenever we pitch, they're always asking us those questions, like that underserved community, underserved market, and it's, I don't know, it's just somehow to me, because next time I pitch now, I'm looking at it. I know that maybe a judge or an investor will ask me that same question again.
Yeah. So you need to have a ready answer for that, right?
I know
It could be
that's why I
some
need the
form
help of D-Pia Innovation Lab.
of it could be some form of service that you provide. some form of support service, different from the ones that are accessible on your platform, right? Because really, what you're providing also probably requires people who can access certain platforms to access it, right? You should
Yes.
have
Yes.
some form of add-on service that is available to those who cannot access, that platform, right? So that could be just like your own social, social, what do you call
Like
it?
CSR.
Social, yeah, like your CSR, right? So that will
Okay.
pacify anybody who thinks that you are building a solution just for, those who already can afford it. You understand, can afford many of the things that you're talking about.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so what stage are you at? What's your current traction? Have you built something? You have certain number
Yes,
of
yes, yes. Like we have a web application, and my developer is like currently like reiterating on it. He's currently working on it, but like it's functioning already. But we are like including like different like features into the web app right now, like SiriHealth.com.
all right. Okay, but some people are already using.
Yes, yes, yes. But like we are trying to make it a much more robust and comprehensive platform, because
Okay.
we don't we one thing I think I've learned like so far is like one should have like structures and systems before like integrating a lot of users, so we'll not end up disappointing people.
Yeah, well, many times what you need is an MVP, right?
Yes, yes.
Once your MVP is robust enough to provide certain value to your customers, you can actually go to market. You don't have to be ready with every feature before you go to market. You've heard of agile approach to development. It's important that once you have an MVP that is sufficient to create some level of value to your customers, then you can get started, and then you can keep adding additional features to your
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
well,
Yeah.
all right. Chike,
Okay, all right, sir. So mine is actually a request. I wanted to request that maybe if you can use a case study to better explain this KPI and how to really track them, so that us on this call will better understand using those case studies.
okay. Okay.
Thank
But I
you.
thought we have discussed a few case studies, like the case study of what's his name, Davis Farm, right? Which he talked about. So you need to look at your how do I describe this? So the way this topic is now, I think I've started a few case studies already, right? It's based on the different components of the modules. Except there's a particular thing that is not clear, you can ask a question and then I can clarify, right? When I was talking about the place of the role of the founder and the business owner, the chief executive, and how it works on the business, I used the case of Ezra Olubi and I think one of that person, I can't remember now. And then when we're talking about the KPIs, we cited an example of course, operationalizing your business and making sure that you have standard KPIs that help you to track progress. We cited some cases of poultry business. So go ahead if there's any question.
All right, thank you so much, sir. It could actually skip my mind when we were talking about. Now as you repeated it again, it came back. And that's actually the aspect of team members, getting the team who can also
Yeah.
view the idea, the business, the same way you did, because I had challenge with that. Initially, I got some people together. Some were my friends and all those things. So I shared the vision with them. At first, they were like, "Ah, this is nice, and right, we can." But at the long run, I discovered they were not running at my pace, and more like dragging the stuff down. I had to pause the entire team, something like that. So the question now is, how do one navigate through this challenge, getting a team that views your vision and sees it the same way you see it? And sometimes they might believe in the vision and they might view it the same way, but might not be able to make the necessary sacrifice in order to achieve what you want to achieve at the stipulated time you have actually mapped out to achieve them. So that's my question in that regard. And
What?
two, okay.
Okay. Should we address that one first, then you move to the next one?
Yes, sir.
What's their skin in the game? What's reward? What have you promised them as a reward for what they are doing?
All right. I've not promised anybody anything yet.
Okay, now.
Yes, sir.
So they should just be working. They should just be working. Eh? So that's why you're not getting traction from them. Right? You need to be clear on exactly, what's in it for them. Right? It could be a percentage of, you just need to work out something. To say maybe you have you work and, I'll give you 5% if you work pay for the next 5 years. If you stay on the business, your stuff is going to invest over a 5-year period. You're going to be getting 1% every year that you work until the 5th year. If you're able to stay with us for 5 years, then you'll have 100% banked in your 5% of the business, right? And of course, as a co-founder, they have a promise of getting part of the ultimate profits that the business make over time. For a co-founder who is also working in the business, at the point where you begin to pay salaries, he knows that he's able to, also get a portion of, some salary from the business once you're able to pay salaries. So you need to work out that and be very clear, right? What role each person is playing. For some people, you can just tell them you work for this period, I paid for this particular amount at this particular time, right? And you are out of the game. You understand? So you need to have clear conversation with them. And you don't just have clear conversation with them, it has to be documented, right? Because some people that you bring on board today, by next year, they may get busy or find other priorities, right? And then they move on, okay? So your equity is one of the ways that you pay people who have decided to stay on with you on the business, over a period of time. So somebody might need to ease off a particular person who has new priorities and bring in other people, to continue on the journey with you. But it's important to cross-check with the people that you are bringing on board, that they are passionate about what you're passionate about. For some people who get on the business, on the journey with you at the beginning, sometimes they may want to get out along the way, but they may remain valuable, part of the organization, contributing their experience, bringing their support as advisors to the organization. I once had a business where I was, had a co-founder role for a period, but I had other new priorities and, had to move on to an advisor role to only be available whenever, there is a need to be available to the business to support it, but not doing day-to-day execution, in terms of the company strategies, right? I don't know if that answers that question. So you need to be very clear with them on what is it.
Okay, so thank you very much. It has.
How about your second question?
Yes, you have answered both the second question.
All right.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Do we have any other question?
Make the go. Ká tó rìn dé títí ká tó lọ print ká tó ṣe gbá ká tó ṣàwọ̀.
Ah, hello, Abdul Malik. You are live. Okay. Any question? All right. So it appears that we have handled most of the questions. Yeah, so basically that's what I have for you today. So what is going to be left for us is to then look at pitching your business at all, which will be taken by Mr. Taniko. Ben is going to be here on Friday to take you through that. Okay. So at this point, I think I will hand over to